So now it is the time of 3:19 p.m. on Daylight Savings Day in spring. The date is March 14th, 2021. It is a Sunday. I am going to review the excellent preparation my girl gave me on how to interview for a financial sales position. I have interviewed there before, and the questions are always tough. She somehow made them tougher, and that's good, because a challenge makes you grow your potential and exceed your limits beyond your own understanding. First of all, I will go over her list of questions. Cindy, you are a good gal. Good job. I don't mean that facetiously, I mean that honestly. I apologize. But I will read what she wrote as questions. Question 1. Why do you think we should hire you? Ooh. Question 2. What other contributions can you render toward the development of this organization except educating prospects? She writes really well. Question 3. How do you motivate yourself? Good question. Asks about personality and how you handle stress. Question 4 is, if there are downside in sales, what will be your first action? And by sales, she means organizational sales. That is a very challenging question which requires thought and is something that a lot of people don't prepare for in their interview prep, but it's worth preparing for. Question 5. You spoke about your educational process on the vitality of our services. How are you confident they will listen? Effectively, how sure are you that your strategy will net customers? And then question 6 was, go on, tell me your example, in which I told her an example. Question 7, while trying to sell our services to prospects and you get rejected, how do you handle rejection? Ooh, this is a hard one to lie about, and you can't lie because I'll be able to tell. How you handle rejection is an essential question in sales because only in the single digits percentage-wise will people buy your product. That's across the board in every industry. And if you don't have the personal maturity to handle those rejections and don't demonstrate such personal maturity, they should not hire you. And I was honest about my answer that I'm working on my ability to handle rejection. Question 8. How do you build a convincing rapport with a prospect? More details about how I would actually work in the company. That's good. Question 9. What aroused your interest in sales? In our sales position. Good question that few people can answer because they're just looking for a job 9 times out of 10. But they want to know why you care about this job. Because if you care, you're more likely to stick around and do a good job and maybe make it up the ladder of success in that company. Final question. When did you know you had a passion for sales? This you can't bullshit either. You can't bullshit passion. They can tell in your voice. They can tell in your notions. If you don't care, then it's pretty obvious. So, I'm not going to go over my answers, but I'm going to extrapolate on possible answers to these questions. Why do you think we should hire you? Okay, first of all, you have to understand your environment. In this first question, and it's a bit blunt, but it's fair. And in finance, they can be blunt. Why should we hire you? What makes you good for the position? By which they mean, how will you fit in the culture? And how will you do your job properly? And in sales, it's a very specific job. Maintain good relationships with customers and acquire customers. So your answer must have to do with answering that concern. Question 2. What other contributions can you render toward the development of this organization except educating prospects? This is a challenging question because I said I can educate prospects on why our services are valuable, why you need financial products, and why you need them for retirement and for the winter times when things get tough, for the hurricane season, so to say. And I said I educate the prospects and then I demonstrate how the specific company I work for is trustworthy and provides high value. But then she asked something that was a curveball to me, and she said, what else can you do? I was like, ooh, that's a tough one, is what I actually said. And she wanted to move on. But I wanted to cover this because it's a very tough question. What else can you offer? Sometimes they ask that because what you offer isn't enough yet. But if you can offer more, my example was I am naturally persuasive. I spend most of my time listening to people and their inner needs, and I try to be of service to everyone I meet and understand how to help them, whether they be clients or customers or employees or employers or co-workers or just the random person I meet in a restaurant or at a gas station. Next question, and this is a technical question, which is a bit tough. If there are downsides in sales, what will be your first action? They're asking, what do I do during winter, during hurricane season? And this is a great question. I'm not sure if Cindy knew how fantastic a question this is. But there's ups and downs in financial markets, and you have to be ready for the downside. And what I said is I would listen to other recordings of my calls and create a report on my discoveries. I would go knee deep into research mode, find out every detail I can about what I did right, what I did wrong. And then she clarified and said, the sales are down for the entire organization. How would you fix it? What will be your first steps? And then I said, see, what did I say? I'm trying to find it. I have notes, which is just my responses. And I did not answer that. So if the organization has sales that are down across the board, I would first, and I'm making this up right now, talk to the manager, my boss, and say, this seems like it's a concern. We're doing worse in the market than we expected. I have some ideas, just ideas I came across in my random explorings of my work, but is there something we should do? And then I would try to nudge, not in a manipulative way, but what I would offer the conversation and feedback would be, I think we need to call a sales meeting of everyone, all the stakeholders impacted by the downside of the downturn in our sales, and talk through, almost like counseling, what we can do better, how we can improve. Because during good times, it's not always easy to see who will stick around. But if people are willing to dig their heels in and push hard for the company and its values, then we can survive. We need to find out who's willing to not go down with the ship, but fight for the ship to survive. Who's committed and who's willing to learn and willing to adjust and willing to maneuver so that we do survive as a company. And then I mentioned my educational prospects, and she asked, you spoke about educational prospects on the vitality of our services. This is very professional language. I do approve of it. How are you confident they will listen? I said, I can give an example. And she said, go on, tell me your example. And then this is ironic because I'm self-referencing this video. I recently recorded a podcast about finances. In my video, I stressed that money management is not gambling. Your primary goal should not be to enjoy the good times to the max, but to reasonably survive hard times. And hard times will come. Hurricane season always arrives when we least expect it, and winter comes every season. every seasonal cycle technically, but the grasshopper and the ant story for me, South Fable, is a finance lesson. Mm. And then how I deal with rejection. That's a tough one. What did I say? I try to handle rejection professionally. I get upset like many guys, but a cool grace I work on daily. Or I work on a cool grace every day. That's basically me saying I'm dodging the question. This is a trick question because no one handles rejection well. I can give an example of when I felt I was mistreated and how I held my tongue and just was polite as can be. But I didn't feel like doing that because she didn't ask. And then lastly, it's why do you care about this job? What aroused your interest in sales? And I mentioned that, and this is a personal story, your personal story will be different. I realized sales was about honest communication, educating the prospect that their lives would vastly improve with the services and products that y'all offer. It's also a fun math problem to negotiate prices because most people in life are price sensitive to any product they buy, whether toilet paper or their 401k. And that was it. I mentioned that she was very highly professional in her questions, and we flowed with each other in the conversation, me and my gal. She responded to my responses, and I responded to her questions and her responses. And it became a dance of sorts where we kind of ebbed and flowed the conversation. And that's how any conversation goes, even interviews. And I'm almost 12 minutes. I'm going to end it here. Appreciate you guys. Go, Gadget Cowboys.